What is gender inclusive demining? Yes, we're going to find out. Of course, we're going to find out. Gender inclusive demining. What could that be? And what does that have to do with Ukraine? Gender inclusive demining. First, I thought we have to start out with this very, very simple meme. And the meme says in black and white, it says in white, Ukraine is not our responsibility. And I think that that's very, very true. We have to keep that in mind. Although I think Justin Trudeau signed something yesterday, making Ukraine somewhat our responsibility for some reason. But Melissa says, holy cow, Prime Minister Trudeau gave Zelensky another $3 billion. Meanwhile, carbon tax is apparently going up April 1st for Canadians. And there's this video, and it's got like classical music in the background. There's like all sorts of... it sounds very meaty and full, right? We'll watch it in the next tab. Melissa says, holy cow, Prime Minister Trudeau gave Zelensky another $3 billion. Meanwhile, carbon tax is apparently going up April 1st for Canadians. So yeah, $3 billion with a B. That's unbelievable. So this shorter video is cut out from this longer video here. Vladimir Zelensky says, Ukraine is definitely stronger now than it was 2 years ago. Well, it's stronger now today because we just gave you $3 billion. Today, we signed another security agreement. This is what I mean. Trudeau signed this yesterday, making us somewhat responsible, which strengthens the position of our people, particularly our soldiers. This is a strong and timely decision that will significantly strengthen our resilience. Prime Minister Trudeau and I signed a security cooperation agreement between Ukraine and Canada, which allocates over $3 billion in macro-financial and defense assistance in 2024. I'm grateful to Justin Trudeau and all Canadians. You have stood with Ukraine from the first days and the full-scale war, or first days of the full-scale war. It's very valuable to us. Yeah, like $3 billion valuable, and that's just the latest installment in the ongoing, and according to Justin Trudeau, never-ending funding of Ukraine. We'll have Pierre Poilievre weigh in on this before this tab set is out. Don't worry. CTV News is reporting Trudeau visits Kiev, predicts victory for Ukraine on invasion's 2-year anniversary. What is he basing that prediction on? It's like watching somebody predict NFL football who doesn't watch NFL football, or watching somebody predict European football who doesn't watch European football. Right? It's like, well, great prediction, but what are you basing that on? Like, you're not basing that on any kind of fact or anything. So thanks for telling us, but we'll just dismiss that. Here's Ryan, and he is sharing about degenderizing mining. Hold on a second. Sorry, he was talking about something else. Harrison Faulkner's talking about the being gender inclusive for demining. Sorry. It's so ridiculous as to wrap my head around it is like hilarious. It's ridiculous. Okay, so this is a communication from the Prime Minister of Canada. It says gender inclusive demining for sustainable futures in Ukraine. This is very important because reasons? This project from the Halo Trust aims to safeguard the lives and livelihoods of Ukrainians, including women and internally displaced persons, by addressing the threat of explosive ordnance present across vast areas of the country. Project activities include conducting non-technical surveys and subsequent manual clearance in targeted communities, providing capacity building to key national stakeholders, and establishing a gender and diversity working group to promote gender transformative mine action in Ukraine. Gender transformative mine action in Ukraine. It's almost an SNL skit, except it's like terribly, terribly boring and dry. Gender inclusive demining. Yes. Well, non-binary, great. Here's a straw. If you feel any resistance, stop pushing and move back. Like, I thought they had mice that did demining. Do they have to be gender neutral mice? Like, what is happening here? Ryan's talking about different funding. This is funding different media. This is Ukrainian media funding to the tune of almost $1 million. Okay, so we're not talking $1 billion here, just $1 million. Trudeau is now funding another country's media almost $1 million to fact check and help journalists think the right way, says Ryan. And this is another communication: strengthening truth, transparency, and democracy to counter disinformation funding, $930,000. Canada is providing funding to Internews Ukraine to help enhance the literacy and fact-checking capabilities of Ukrainians' media in order to better counter disinformation in the country. This project includes a comprehensive skills transfer program to enhance the capacity of Ukrainian journalists and civil society organizations to carry out fact-checking and verification, a new network of media literacy clubs across Ukraine to empower citizens to critically access media content and identify disinformation, and a public awareness campaign on media literacy and fact-checking to help Ukrainians critically evaluate and verify information. This initiative will also address gender disparity in the Ukrainian media. So we've got de-genderifying, demining, gender transformative mine action in Ukraine, and gender disparity issues in Ukrainian media being addressed for all for Canadian tax dollars. You're welcome, the Ukraine. And here is actually footage. We have footage today, just delivered this morning, of our tax dollars being delivered in Ukraine. Okay. Eagle Wing says a former head of Ukrainian Regional Military Recruitment Office has been charged with $1 million, has been caught, with $1 million US dollars in shoeboxes. Footage of the raid. Congress, stop giving Ukraine our tax dollars. Because our tax dollars are kind of fictional to us, right? But fictional to us until tax season. And then they're very real. And here, they're very real, as in like, dollars in shoeboxes real. Okay. So and I mean, this is the internet, right? So take it with a grain of salt. I saw it and I thought, oh, that'll line up nice. So it's plausible. I put it in the realm of plausible. Is this definitely US tax dollars that people have been, maybe it's plausible, but here we go. Nobody's going to suspect this overstuffed box of chocolates is containing stacks of money. Nobody at all. Like, the thing looks like it's about to explode. I wouldn't look at that and think, ooh, I want a delicious chocolate. I think, what the heck is stuffed in there? Cat Canada says, Pierre Poilievre says, after 8 years of Trudeau, the rise of tent cities, reminiscent of the Great Depression, he's not worth the chaos and the cost. And Cat Canada says, cut all funding to Ukraine so we can redirect those funds to address this mess. Canadians are fed up with funding a meat grinder. Billions can't go to a far-off nation when our own veterans are homeless. And I mean, other people are homeless too, right? It's not just veterans. Here's, again, Vladimir Zelensky. And, I forgot to show the video here. We'll watch some of the video. It's just that he shows up and there's all sorts of classical music and lots of bass from, I don't know, a bass. Here we go. Our tax dollars at work. This is propaganda. This is a propaganda video. This is like what we get for $3 billion. Here's your little video, 47 seconds with boom, 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 boom. Sorry, the other video I listened to started at like the 22 seconds when the band really got going, because when we started the video, there was absolutely no bass. Anyway, here's Bill Blair looking like kind of, he doesn't look as bad as Joe Biden, but he looks kind of lost. Concerned Canadian says, I'm so tired of listening to Trudeau's nonsensical political diatribe that misguidedly allocates our dissension of the Ukrainian funding to right-wing extremism. So, yeah, sure, maybe some people who don't want to fund the Ukrainian war, Russian war, are right-wing extremists. Those extreme peaceful people, those extreme anti-war people. Very, the alt-right are known to be very anti-war, right? With their guns and things. So, but it's funny, the idea that only alt-right people don't agree with funding this conflict, right? I think most Canadians don't agree with funding foreign conflicts. It's shocking what's happening. Here we go.
You said earlier today that Canada would do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to help Ukraine. But as this war enters its third year, we're seeing
including degenderifying mining,
countries, including people in Canada, start to wane a little bit in terms of this public support for continuing to fund a war like this. What do you say to people back at home who might have those concerns?
We have seen the impact of Russian misinformation and disinformation.
So anybody with those concerns is bamboozled by Russian disinformation.
In countries all around the world, with the rise of a far right that is turning its back on Ukraine, turning its back on the international rules-based order, turning its back on democracy.
Their rule-based order, which is to say that they can get away with and do whatever they want, Hunter Biden. And if you say, hey man, stop using my tax dollars for this ridiculous meat grinder war that's never going to be won, they say that's alt-right. I can't believe that you'd be a terrorist like that. Rules-based order. Yeah, we're turning our back on it, you lunatic. Holy cow. Like, yes, nobody wants that. Who wants that? Rex Glazier says, Trudeau government's use of the Emergencies Act during the Freedom Convoy violated Canadian constitutional rights, says the federal court. Sit down and be quiet. And he's responding to CTV News, and they're reporting that Prime Minister Trudeau says weakling Putin executed Navalny to crush dissent. So remember when Justin Trudeau authorized police to trample Canadians in pursuit of silencing and crushing the Freedom Convoy, the dissent in his capital city? I mean, the hypocrisy is just unbelievable, right? It's jaw-dropping. Anita Anand, this is good. This is really funny. So Anita Anand says this. 2 years ago today, Putin launched a brutal full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine's fight is our fight. Why? And we will be there for them until they achieve victory. What if that's not possible? What if they're like, okay, we've got Ukraine now, and Canada, you've just ticked us off so much, and we know your military is kind of crap, so we're just going to come and hang out, like, and we're not even going to do anything. We're just going to hang out. Wait, what would Trudeau do? It's time to mobilize. Like, okay, I mean, are you going to institute a draft along with your immigration program? Because, like, how's that going to work? Ukraine's fight is our fight. We reaffirm our support for freedom, democracy, and the resilience of Ukrainian spirit. Slava Ukraini, she says. And here's Pierre Poilievre, the other liberal. He says, it's been 2 years since Ukraine woke up to the evil of an unprovoked full-scale invasion from Vladimir Putin. With unshakable resolve and determination, Ukrainian people have fought back. They haven't given up, and neither will we. Canada will always stand with Ukraine in the fight for freedom and democracy against Putin's tyranny. So where's they're the same picture. Corporate asked us to find the differences between these pictures, and they're the same picture. So they're the same picture. It's exactly the same party. It's unbelievable. Here's Senator Batters. She's conservative, right? She's proud conservative, stands for conservative values, stands for Pierre Poilievre. And she says, I was proud to stand with Ukraine, with my Ukrainian Canadian community in Regina, at the Saskatchewan Legislative Grounds today. At the Holodomor Monument, we marked a solemn 2-year anniversary, second anniversary of Russia's illegal and barbaric invasion of Ukraine, Slava Ukraini. So she may be Ukrainian, have Ukrainian heritage, and I still think that it's strange to have this very tight feeling of responsibility for this war that seems obviously, to me, a globalist war, a NATO expansionist war. There are red lines that Putin said that I'm going to show you video of being crossed yesterday. But he said basically, I just don't want Ukraine becoming a part of NATO because like then NATO's on our doorstep and we don't want that. And that's not good, right? And, you know, we want peace, according to the interview with Tucker Carlson. Now take that with a grain of salt, right? Because there's a huge push right now to relabel Putin as a lying snake in the grass who will bite you, right? And so maybe he is, maybe he is. But at the same time, I think that it's faulty for Canada to fund foreign wars, make agreements outside of NATO for security and supply and money and all of the rest of it. I think that it's very, very dangerous to do what we're doing, to have a government doing what we're doing. And Pierre Poilievre is right in lockstep with all of this. So, I mean, it looks to me like he's going to be the next prime minister. And it looks to me like it's going to be very difficult to derail. And it looks to me like there's a baton being handed off. This is a relay race. And Pierre's picking up the baton right now. And he's like, I can run this race better than Trudeau did. It's my turn, right? And he's going to pass off to another globalist. I hope to be wrong. But it seems like the glass is half empty, maybe. not such an optimist. Maxime Bernier says, the trolls are claiming that Polyev supports the people of Ukraine in principle, but wouldn't send them money and weapons to the Zelensky regime. This is the conservative position as of 2 days ago. They want to send more billions and more lethal weapons to Ukraine, more lethal weapons to Ukraine than Trudeau does. The Conservatives accuse the government of failing Ukraine and want Trudeau to deliver more lethal supplies. Canada has promised billions in military support, but not all of it has actually materialized. So, yeah, 3 billion more. Yay. So there's the Slava Uniparty, says Maxime Bernier, and he shares the Pierre Poilievre with the Ukraine scarf and Justin Trudeau with the Ukraine scarf. One with the slicked back hair, one with the wild hair. And that was the fat Trudeau, right? Like obviously Trudeau has body doubles. This one's the fat one, right? So... And he's responding to Pierre Poilievre's tweet about Vladimir Putin's illegal invasion, which ignores the history of NATO and 2014 to 2021, right? So like there's all sorts of nonsense that's being bandied about. Maxime Bernier again says, Pierre Poilievre will always stand with Ukraine. I will always stand with Canada first. And CTV News is reporting Poilievre vows to always stand with Ukraine as third year of Russian war begins. So yeah, I mean, is it so hard for Canadian politicians to stand with Canada? I struggle to think that it's that difficult. Here's the General Wayne Eyre, the Chief Defense Staff of the Canadian Armed Forces, and he sends out this tweet in Ukrainian. He's also sent it out in French and English, so both official languages of Canada, and now the third unofficial language of Canada being adopted, because apparently Ukraine's now our responsibility. Regardless of our NATO commitment, we're also committed to Ukraine, and we'll give them more than we give NATO anyway. Why? Reasons. Eva says, do you find it strange that the Canadian Chief of Defense to be writing in his official capacity on a public forum in a language that is not one of Canada's official languages? Yeah, I mean, like Twitter has a handy, like, translate this post, right? So you can see what he says. But that works for Ukrainians too. So it's weird that he'd post in Ukrainian. Nice gesture, I guess. But again, why are we sticking our nose where it doesn't belong? I honestly don't think our $3 billion is going to tip the scale one way or another. And it makes a huge difference to us, but not so much to the Ukrainian meat grinder, as far as I can tell. And they're missing soldiers. What are they going to send next, right? They've sent all our borrowed money. What are they going to send next? Here's Ironhead, and he says, I'm not trying to be flippant or hyperbolic, but this could be the last straw that will kick off the Third World War. The elites of the world have been itching for it, and unfortunately, we're all going to end up suffering the consequences. This is not good, not with the capital N-O-T. And so, yeah, it's not. Here's a NATO leader. I can't remember which NATO leader. It says Ukraine will join NATO, the chief says. NATO chief says. Yeah, here it is.
And we are deepening our political ties through the NATO-Ukraine Council, where we consult and make decisions together. Ukraine will join NATO. It is not a question of if, but of when. As we prepare you for that day, NATO will continue to stand with Ukraine for your security and for ours.
You ever seen Dr. Strangelove? I half expected him to like salute there for a minute. Yet. Circulon says, all of you Slava types with kids of drafting age are in for a rude awakening. If that actually happens, if there's a kinetic war and Europe, NATO, everybody goes to war and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, things are going to look interesting. And I mean, people have been talking about how off the hook 2024 is going to be. Is this the next evolution? Because they're itching for something like that to happen. So it's interesting. It's interesting to watch. Here's a grab bag of governance. Hello, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. This is just a short version of a longer show. If you'd like to get the whole show, you can go over to CanadaPoly.com and sign up for a subscription. Just look in the drop-down tab for Shop and Donate and look for subscriptions, and you'll get immediate access to the full show. Love to see you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful